I've officially applied to 70 jobs, and at this point, I'm feeling pretty desensitized. I've also been doing some reflecting, and objectively speaking, I actually like my job. I have the flexibility to go on site whenever I want, usually only twice a week. I get along well with my coworkers and even my supervisor, which is a huge plus. No one ever bothers me, and there's no micromanaging. Objectively, I'm working at most 48 hours a week and making around 60k as base, which isn't bad for the amount of effort I put in. Plus, I'm getting a raise to 70k before the end of the year, so if I stick around, that's free money. But here's the thing. The only reason I'm considering a job switch is because I think I could break the 6-figure mark. With 3 years of experience as a product specialist, I believe I have what it takes to become a product manager where salaries can easily exceed 100k. So yeah, I guess I'm thinking about leaving this comfy situation just for the money. But it makes me wonder, is money really that important? What do you guys think? I need to make a quick correction to my video from last week. I mentioned that I worked 48 hours a week for 60k, but I actually meant to say I work only 16 hours a week. Yep, that's right, the amount of work I do as a full-time salaried employee can pretty much be squeezed into 2 days of the 5-day work week. So this brings up the important question, does it really make sense to leave my job where I'm barely working more than 2 days a week and still making decent salary, especially when I get along with my coworkers and my manager? Sure, I could, probably move to a new job and, earn 6 figures, but that would likely come with, double or even triple the workload I'm dealing with right now. I'm really torn about the situation, and honestly, my head is about to explode from thinking about it so much. I'm already 70 plus applications deep into the job applying market, but yeah, this thought just lingers in my head. What do you guys think? So remember that interview I was telling you about where one of the interviewers didn't even turn on his camera and then said I didn't have enough experience for the job? Well, guess what? I'm now on to the final step and I'll be meeting with the senior VP. Honestly, I didn't think I would get this far. First off, I applied to a job that straight up asked for 10 years of experience, and here I am, way under that at probably only 4. On top of that, I feel like I flopped in 2 out of the 4 interviews. I wasn't as confident as I could have been, and they kept bringing up my lack of experience, which didn't help my nerves. But somehow, here I am. Maybe the other candidates didn't quite measure up, who knows. It's a bit wild, but now I've gotten this far, I'm going to give it everything I've got, and I'm going to prep like crazy for this final round. It should be an interesting experience, and I'm really hoping to nail it and prove that I'm the right person for the job. Let's see how it goes. So I just finished my product manager interview with the senior VP, which was the 4th interview in this month-long process, and honestly, I think I bombed it. At one point, I completely blanked during my response, and I legit paused because I forgot what I was talking about. Then I ended up apologizing, saying sorry, I lost my train of thought, and gave a pretty lackluster response afterward. Then there were 2 questions in a row that were really similar. First, he asked, what steps do you take during a product launch? I answered by talking about, market research, gathering VOC, and, defining a go-to-market strategy. Then right after that, he asked, what is your go-to-market strategy? And I pretty much repeated my previous answer because I just said it. However, thinking about it now, maybe he was asking the same question to see if, I would give a different or maybe a more detailed response or something. The weird thing is at the end, I asked if he had any concerns I could address, and he just said no. So I'm not really sure how it went. I really hope I get this job because this has been over a month of interviews and 4 rounds of back and forth. So I finally got the job offer, and I effectively doubled my income, going from 60k base salary to 125k, which is pretty insane. On top of that, there's an 8% bonus, so my total compensation is around 135k. The best part is, it's a fully remote job, which is a huge upgrade from my previous hybrid role, so I'm definitely excited about that. What makes this even better is that I was laid off the day after the senior VP interview, so not only am I collecting severance and my unused PTO, but I've got about 2 weeks to just chill before I start the new role. Right now, my main focus is passing the background check. I had started this interview process before I was laid off, so I mentioned that I was still employed. I'm hoping the background check won't catch termination since it's so recent, but we'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed that everything works out smoothly. I'm officially onboarded at my new job, but let me tell you, the 2 weeks while they were running my background check were nerve-wracking. The company that handled it was HireRight, and they couldn't verify any of my previous employers, not even one I had, just been laid off from. I had to send them my W-2 forms and give them a direct contact to really help with verification, but even then, they couldn't verify my job title, and at that point, I was like, really? Did you even call these numbers I gave you? What made it worse was when I asked how I could speed things up or get things verified, they told me there wasn't really much else I could do and just went ahead and completed a background check. When I finally got the report, it showed that I had been flagged in their system, but it still passed the company standard, thankfully. Still, the whole process was way more stressful than it needed to be, and I wouldn't recommend going through that again if I could avoid it. Now that I've secured a bag, I'm feeling pretty good about how things turned out. The moral of the story? When the economy is tanking I recently started my new job, and honestly, I'm feeling a bit lost. This is a Fortune 500 company, and it's a fully remote position, which means it's even a bit harder to navigate. Well, I know who my supervisor is, and I'm familiar with the products I'll be managing, but here's the thing, the previous product manager is still handling that, product portfolio I'm supposed to manage, and I haven't officially gotten the reins to it yet, and I'm not really sure when the handoff will happen. On top of that, this company is made up of several smaller companies they've acquired over the years, and they're not fully integrated with one another. And that seems to be causing some tension, like my supervisor is from the parent company, but a product manager who's still holding on to the portfolio is from one of the acquired companies. And it feels like there's a bit of, let's say, animosity there. So I'm kind of stuck in the middle of all of it. But hey, at least I'm getting paid while I figure this all out. Hopefully things will become clearer soon, but right now I'm just trying to get my bearings in this big corporate environment. I recently started my first remote job, and honestly, I have mixed feelings about it. There are obvious perks like saving gas money, not having to wake up early to get ready for work, and just being able to work from home. But there are definitely more downsides than I expected. For one, this is a Fortune 500 company with over 10,000 employees, and it's hard to really connect with even my immediate coworkers. I don't even know what most of my team members look like because everyone keeps their webcams off, which is fine. Also, as someone who's only been at the job for a month, I did a lot of floundering in the beginning, doing things I wasn't supposed to do or making mistakes, just trying to get my bearings straight. But I think I'm finally starting to get the hang of it. And most important of all, I just noticed how uncomfortable my $200 chair is that I bought from Amazon, I think 5 years ago. So yeah, that said, if you gave me a choice between a hybrid setting, on-site or remote, I would still choose remote 100% of the time. Despite the challenges, the flexibility and convenience really make it worth it for me. As a product manager, I have to talk to my engineers a lot, and honestly, there are some great engineers. As someone without an engineering background, they really take their time to explain everything to me. They also provide me with resources where I can learn more about the topics. However, there's this one senior engineer who's really a stickler about some technical aspects. I mean, I'm launching a product and I need to simplify things for the salespeople so they can understand it and sell it. So I took the technical jargon, simplified it, and got some approvals from, the junior engineers. But when I always go to the senior engineer, he wants it to stay technical because he says my analogies aren't 100% correct in some scenarios. So I ask him, are you saying it's incorrect? And he responds with, nah, not really. So I say, okay, so what do you want me to change about it? And then he tells me it'll take too long to explain and walks off. So I'm like, okay, thanks. But yeah, I don't know, that's my life these days. So lately, I've been daydreaming about buying a condo in the heart of Chicago. Just to give some context, I'm a 26-year-old still living with my parents. One of the upsides of this setup is that I'm able to save and invest aggressively. I'm now at a point where I think I can comfortably afford a $300 to $350K 2-bed and 2-bath condo in Chicago. In my daydreams, I pictured the perfect setup. A pristine standing desk, an ergonomic chair, and some wood wall accents behind my monitor that just ties everything together. But the issue with Chicago is that condo prices haven't appreciated much. There are so many reasons for this, like having, high taxes, driving people out of the city. One unit I was eyeing on barely beat inflation. Its value increased only about 2% excluding inflation, which is a terrible return compared to the stock market. So I'm stuck wondering, do I buy a condo and finally have a place to call my own? Or do I play it smart, rent, and continue to invest elsewhere? What do you guys think?